Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. This episode coming from my backyard, my little garden. I'm starting to hear the birds sing and spring is coming. Yay! Here in Texas, it has not been a long winter, but internally I felt like I went through a winter season. And winter is a time for resting, yes. I like restoration. I mean, think of the trees and the plants and pretty much everything. I mean, even polar bears, right? There's a time to just be still and to replenish and to wait and to stop. And in our culture, we're like, January 1st, go, 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 go. And I think I've mentioned this before in a previous episode. I was not feeling the January fire. And I just feel myself being born along with spring, following the cycle of life. And that feels so good. Today I have on my heart to talk to you about success and where I went wrong, even though I don't regret it. I'm into human design. I'm not an expert yet, but on the way to becoming one. And it doesn't matter. I love human design to understand myself and others. And actually, I use human design to help people in my clients in business. So I have the gate, a conscious gate, which means that it's really a part of my personality and that it has to do with my purpose in life. It's the gate 18.6. I can't tell you if it's my conscious earth or conscious sun or what that means. I don't know. I don't really care right now, but it's the gate 18.6 and it is to work on what has been spoiled. And with the 6th line, I'm the role model. I was listening to the creator of human design, and he was saying with the 6th line, you've gone through all the other lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, which means that you've tried everything. And, I'm almost 50 years old. I'll be 50 in March. And so obviously I haven't tried everything, but in business, I've tried a lot of things. And he said the beauty of the 18.6 line is, and I'm using my own words, but is that you have this wisdom. You're able to work on what has been spoiled. And so that made me think of the image of like spoiled milk, how we tend to just throw milk away when it's been spoiled, right? It smells nasty, it tastes nasty, but you can actually make a dessert with it. You can use it instead of buttermilk. And I'm not a dairyist, so I don't know exactly if it is buttermilk or what. But there are things that you can do with spoiled milk in order to create something beautiful. And that's how the gate 18.6 makes sense to me in my life. So I applied it. And the other day I was listening to a class with Melanie Ann Layer. She is a phenomenal coach who teaches on personal development. She's a business mentor. She has influenced me a lot. And she has made over $75 million in about 5.5 years. But more than that, who she is or who she appears to be, I really do believe that they're the same person, that it's not a show. I know that. And she was saying how the reason that she was successful, or that she has been continuously successful, like massively, $75 million in 5.5 years, and not burned out and still on fire, has been, number one, because she has always been committed to growth. Number two, she has always stayed grateful. And number three, she has always been committed to this notion of for me, for you, for us. And as she was going through, and there were probably a few other things, as she was going through this list, I was like, oh my Lord. It was like I had stopped doing for a while all the things on that list. And I didn't need her masterclass in order for me to realize I've known this for a few years because I got burnt out. And I want to share with you that I'm not someone, because I hear people saying like, I made this much and I lost it all, and it's all good. Everything is all good. Everything is perfect. Everything is here to teach you a lesson. But I didn't lose it all, but I got really comfortable at the height of my success when I was making a lot. And I think what happened was that it was way past anything that I thought was possible for me ever. I had never dreamed of making that kind of income and having that kind of success, that I was like, okay, I've arrived. I don't need to do anything more. I can just kind of like cruise. And I got comfortable. And Ben Hardy and others say that success is our biggest enemy, because this is exactly what happens to a lot of people. You get to the top and then you're like, I'm good. I don't have to do anything. But what happens, and this was my experience, what happens when you get to the proverbial top and you sit on your laurels is that there's a kind of deadening that happens within you, and you get bored, and then you stop feeling the joy of productivity. And now, to be fair, at the same time, there were some things that were happening in our lives, and I wasn't feeling well. I had extreme vertigo. And so I worked much less, and the income, and this is why now I'm like, not now, I've always been a fan and a believer in network marketing. But now I'm like, wow, it was network marketing and my passive income that allowed me this spaciousness to rest when I needed to rest, and to, take care of myself medically. It's very expensive when you go through alternative medicine, and it was just never even a question. So it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful. And now I'm like, everybody's like, network marketing. I want people to hear that it's been such a huge, huge gift in my life. But So part of it was that I got lazy. Part of it was that I got sick, and I'm really grateful for the income that I still have and that continues because of the past work. But I want to acknowledge that the gratitude, but then also the laziness, that I absolutely did get lazy because I stopped growing. I thought I knew everything. I had all the accolades. I had all the compliments. People were telling me left and right how amazing I was, and I believed it. And of course, like, we should believe that we're amazing, but this is also part of the reason why I teach a program like Money Magnet, because I didn't realize prior to just a few years ago that I was seeking validation, that in my achievement, I was seeking validation. And now I don't. Like, I'm not looking to be told that I'm amazing, that I'm great, that I'm worthy. I'm not looking for worthiness in my work. But I wouldn't have known this had I not done this kind of work that I teach now. I guess I was satisfied with all the compliments, all the stuff. And I was like, well, I'm good. I've arrived. I don't need to expand my skills. And now I have a very different point of view. As a human design generator and as a human being, I know that I'm here to master something. And so I hardly ever maybe I took like tiny little program on like branding, and I was very much into personal development as a human with like Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard. Back then it was Danny Johnson, but I never really did any kind of coursework or study on the actual business and marketing. And I wish that I would have, because that would have kept me interested and that would have kept me elevating my game. So what happened was that I slowly got comfortable and I slowly just cruised. And of course, I've always continued my business. My business has done extremely well, is doing well, but I didn't actually keep growing. I just got fat and lazy and satisfied. And so and then another thing that happened too was that I stopped being grateful. Like, in the beginning, I was so grateful for I'm talking about 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. I was so grateful for every client, every sale. I had so much gratitude, and I lived in gratitude. And what happened, the more successful I became, it just became normalized. The greatness, the wonderful things that were happening in my life just became normal. And it was almost like I was too cool for school. Like I didn't want to appear like it was a big deal. Like, oh yeah, I can buy a $10,000 Rolex. Like, okay, yeah, I'm grateful. Like, but I don't want to make it seem like it's a big deal. It's like no big deal. Like, yeah, no big deal. I don't know if I'm expressing it the way that I want to. So it was almost like I wanted to show, and what I'm really pointing out is that I was like performing, right? I was still very much concerned with what other people were going to think of me and how I was being perceived. And I didn't want to look too excited. I wanted to look like a cool cucumber. When you lose or you step out of gratitude, you really lose the magic of life. That I know. And so that's something else that happened and that I noticed a few years ago. And all of this led to my awakening. And there's one more thing that Melanie had mentioned, which was for me, for you, for us. You always do things for yourself, right? Like you can't be a martyr. You do it for yourself. I do it for you, for the clients. We do it for us, like humanity. And there were, in the beginning, again, I started off great. And this is when I was most magnetic. This is when the business was like flying. I was doing it for me. I was doing it for you. I was doing it for us. And then when I started getting like really, really successful, I got very focused on the metrics. I got very focused on the results. I got very focused on like the recognition. It was like, Barbie, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. And it was almost like everything I did was for me and a little bit for others. But I got lost. This is where I really got lost along the way. And I want to say it was like maybe around 2020, I wasn't feeling well, 21. I just took a step back. I was like, okay, wait, like I need a reset. I'm burnt out. I'm tired. And, again, the business kept going and it kept giving and I kept showing up, but my soul wasn't in it, And then in 2022, I really was like, what would make my soul come alive? I'm ready. And I started my first, actually, it was a few months before. I taught a little course called Life 2.0, and it was just a course on like life. It was beautiful because I felt like I wanted to do something that spoke to my soul, that made me feel good, that reminded me of who I was. But what's really interesting? That I didn't put that love and attention to my network marketing business. I did it to somewhere else. And what's interesting, and that's fine, but it's a little bit like, when people are like, this relationship is boring now, I'm going to go find another relationship. It was a little bit like that, but not fully. And the thing is, I'm all for, there was a little part of that, but I'm also all for expanding and trying new things. So I have zero regret. I love my network marketing business. I love teaching my programs and coaching. But I know I don't even wish. It's like, but it is what it is, right? Because I've learned. And so in 2022, I started teaching. In 2023, I started getting back into my network marketing business. And I realized like, oh my God, all these things that I've learned, because I invested a lot of money, over $100,000 to learn in different courses, different programs, different coaches. I'm like, I can apply this to my network marketing business and I can apply it to my coaching business. And that's what I did. And so the past 2 years have really been about having fun again, about really feeling grateful for everything, for every way that I'm supported, for every relationship which supports me, for the clients that I get to serve. I'm going back, and I've gone back to like, this is not just about the money, because I didn't start this for the money. In both businesses, I didn't start it for the money. I started it because it was a calling for my soul. And I wanted this, of course, for me, but I also wanted it for us. And it feels so good. It feels so good to be back here. And it's a process. I can tell you that it's a process. It wasn't a switch. And it can be a switch. It can totally be a switch. You wake up one day, you have an awakening, and you're like, oh, what was I doing? Okay, kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge and the Christmas Carol. And then boom, you're transformed and everything is great. And your life is transformed and you go back to a different kind of being. For me, it hasn't been that way. For me, it's been a process. And I'm really, really grateful that I have this experience, because this is the kind of teacher, the kind of mentor, the kind of guide, the kind of human that I am. I'm here to work on what has been spoiled. I'm here to mentor and guide women and men too, who, with my experience and with a whole boatload of compassion that would have been different had I just had continued success. Because let me tell you, before this whole thing happened and I fell out of gratitude and I got complacent and all of that, I was so like, gosh, people are lazy. Like, it's my way or the highway. Like, just get it done. I had like very little compassion and understanding for people. And because of all of the different experiences that I've had and what I've personally gone through, now I have compassion, now I have understanding, now I have wisdom, and I love it. I get to teach from my experiences, not just experience, but I get to teach from my experiences and I don't want to call them failures, I don't want to call them mistakes, but things that I would want someone else to do differently. So that is my share for today, and I'm just really, really excited about the future. I wanted to share two things with you. So number one, I created, if you enjoy my podcast, I created these almost daily soul notes. They're little notes that I record almost on a daily basis. It's not every single day, on business, on life, on the way that I walk myself through different processes, through personal development, through challenges, decisions that I make in business, how I think. And I know that this can help so many people, because they're like, well, what would this person do? I don't know how to do this. And through my examples, you can walk yourself through similar situations and think in the way that a multimillionaire thinks. A multimillionaire, one person. And that's my brain, that's my heart. And these are notes from the soul. I'll put the link below. You can cancel anytime. You get a 2-day free trial. And yeah, you can binge watch for 2 days and cancel, or you can just keep enjoying them. And it's going to be a monthly thing. It's an experiment. So you're welcome to join. And by the way, if you have not left a review, I would so appreciate it. It really, really makes a huge difference when people leave reviews, because it pushes out the podcast to more people. And that's my desire. My desire is to share this message, my message, with other people and to help them rise. I will see you next time, and thank you for being here.